locked in.
Locked and loaded.
Oh, I'm locked in. I'm locked in. We got Final Fantasy leaks, baby. WotC's distribution, not very locked in, incidentally.
No.
Not in the slightest. Not in the
At
slightest.
all.
Welcome, of course, to this, the Lord's 90th episode of the Duels and Mana Dorks podcast. I'm Connor, joined by the typical Gemini himself, Wyatt. Hello, Wyatt. It's good to see you, sir.
What? I'm sorry. I missed the back half.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm asking how you are, Wyatt. It's been 2 whole weeks. Tarkir has come out.
I know. It feels like an eternity.
It really
An
has.
edge of eternity, some could say.
Well, we're skipping over Final Fantasy. We can't do that yet. Okay, we can't skip over to the next set.
How have you been?
I've been great. I did my first pre-release since 2013, that was really cool.
How'd you do?
Not great.
Hey,
Not great.
Them's the breaks, baby.
Built a Jeskai deck. There were 3 rounds of Swiss. I went 2-0 in the first round against a Mardu deck. Kicked some ass. Felt confident going into the second round.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got stomped 0-2 twice by 2 different teamer decks. So, you know.
Well, that confirms it. Teamer, best color of the set. There you go.
I mean, it feels really good. It certainly feels really good. And I gotta say, when you ramp up to 6 mana on turn 4 and then you just cast your big expensive things, it's really hard to prowess your way out of that.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I believe that.
I wish I had like 1 or 2 more copies of it, but it's the white dragon that has the red omen that deals 5 damage to a creature. That thing was particularly helpful. I only had a single copy of it, sadly, but I was managing to shuffle and churn through my deck fast enough. I actually drew it like twice in my second match, but it didn't work out. On another note, I pulled a dragon frame Mox Jasper.
Okay.
Gonna be trading that one in for store credit.
Yeah, for sure.
And then what was it? Was it Hour of Victory? The creature that's a stacks piece like Grand Abolisher? I got in the...
I cannot remember the name of it.
Voice of Victory.
Voice of Victory, yeah.
There we go. I got that one as a foil in the like cons art. So 2 really good pulls. One of them's going in my soon-to-be CEDH list for Narset and Lightened Exile. And then the Mox Jasper will be traded in for store credit so I can buy Final Fantasy cards.
That's the important thing.
I'm a filthy Universes Beyond degenerate. Have you done anything with Tarkir yet?
I tried to pick up a pre-release kit from my LGS, but unfortunately they were given a shorter supply, so they could only give to the people who were actually able to participate in the pre-release. Unfortunately, I had stuff to do this weekend, so I was not able to actually participate in the pre-release. I was just trying to get a kit. They didn't have one, so when the set is fully released, though, I do plan on getting a box because I am very, very excited about this set.
That's fair. I will say, I got lucky because my local game store, for the first time since original Dominaria, took pre-registration for pre-release because they had so many people that were calling in to try and buy kits. Really early, and it was the most crowded pre-release they had since back then. So people are obviously very big fans when they make Magic sets that are Magic sets.
Right.
Who could have possibly guessed it?
Who could have known, truly?
I never would have figured that out otherwise. But Tarkir, it's a fun set. I think the pre-release environment was very fun. I'm sure Draft is very fun as well. I haven't partaken in one. But yeah, go to your local game store. Enjoy a little bit of Tarkir Dragonstorm before the rest of the Final Fantasy set is leaked before Wizards wants to properly spoil it. There's a lot of hashtag MTG ambassadors that would be very upset if all of their cards were leaked before.
Oh, no.
Before they could get officially revealed. But yes, we have magic leaks from the wonderful Reddit thread r/MTG rumors. It's only rumors, but there's pictures of it, so you know it's real. I actually made a YouTube video about it yesterday as of the recording of this. I was like hyper fixated after work, and I had 4 hours, and I'm like, I'm fucking doing this.
It's time to do it
right now.
Yeah.
And I just like shat that thing out. So, you know, you can check that out if you want a look at some of the like specific cards, because we're not going to go over specific cards from the leak. I don't think that's really chill. But we will go over just kind of some themes and an interesting set mechanic that I think we learned about from the leak, and not go over specific cards. If you want specific cards, just check out the YouTube video on this channel, the Dungeon Bros channel. I used this really cool website I found. Have you ever heard of MTG Cardsmith?
MTG Cardsmith? No, I have not.
Yeah, it's a website where it's used to make like custom MTG cards, and then people also make like proxies of it. You can like upload art. So I basically just took the screenshot and I like clipped out the art from certain cards and blew it up so it looked horrifying. But then I was able to type out like the translated text onto like a nice clean card so it was easy to read for a video. It looked horrifying, but you could read it, so that was...
You do what you gotta do when you're trying to be at the cutting edge.
The bleeding edge of leaks. Absolutely. Absolutely. But this, the Duels and Mana Dorks podcast, a bi-weekly, that's every other week, not twice a week, because I found out that bi-weekly actually means both of those, which is not confusing at all. But the bi-weekly Magic the Gathering podcast with myself, and it was Sam for a while, but we've replaced him permanently.
Yeah. I am not
Wyatt.
Sam,
No.
nor am I in a dungeon.
No, no, you are not. No, you're not. I got rid of the entire opening shtick because I just we're rolling right into it. Okay, so we're gonna talk about these Final Fantasy card leaks later. We're gonna, of course, mention the April Fool's Deadpool Secret Lair, and if we have time, because we're on a little bit of a time crunch today. A little bit of a time crunch. If we got time, we'll talk about how there's people that want to make a Black Lotus Lego. Which I guess is really all you need to know.
Legos are cool. Magic is cool. Two cool
Legos
things coming together.
There's a website, Lego Ideas. People can submit things. They can get votes. If they get enough support, then Lego looks into making an actual like product out of them and get the licensing and all that. One of them's Black Lotus. It looks cool. All right, that story's dealt with. Cool. Delete. Check that box. Let's get to the fun thing. This article courtesy of mtg.cardsrealm.com. Never used this one before, but it's a very good write-up. Wizards of the Coast, in classic poor Wizards of the Coast distribution fashion, managed to accidentally send out starter kits to the Brazilian distributors for Magic the Gathering. Those starter kits ended up on game store shelves, sold to people, and then, of course, opened up, fanned out in like a deck list style fashion and taken pictures of for the internet to see. No like individual that the Reddit user that posted the pictures, their account got deleted, but the post is still up. No individual like just zoomed in on the card pictures so you can get a nice clear image of them. It's just deck list style, which is frustrating. But there is an official statement for the retailers who received these pre-release kits, and it reads as, quote, attention retailers, we have identified that Wizards of the Coast has been sending Final Fantasy kits in error. Due to commercial policy, we require that whoever received the item return it to distributor. They have blocked out the name of the distributor in this comment.
Probably a good reason for that.
Very good reason. We will bear the costs of this return. If you received a Final Fantasy pre-release kit, please contact your consultants so we can make arrangements. It is extremely important that this material is returned undamaged. If this has occurred, please notify distributor urgently to avoid any penalties from Wizards of the Coast. Glad to see that they're using strong arm negotiation tactics as opposed to sending literal Pinkertons after people for erroneously being sent cards. And now, I would argue this is much worse than the YouTuber where they just straight up sent cards early to them directly, like as a that's a whole other thing. You can check out long since previous podcasts about that, but
They took this could have been an email, and they were like, you know what, this time, guys, think we just go with a much more laid back approach. We just throw up an oopsie, ask for a mulligan, and we'll get them next time.
try to get the product back, accept that the cards have been leaked and translated within hours of these products being erroneously sold. But yeah, they seem to be handling it relatively amicably. Wizards of the Coast themselves has not given an official statement that I could find as of earlier today. The official release for Final Fantasy is, of course, in over 2 months, on June 13th.
Jump the gun a little bit.
Just a little bit of a gun jump there. But if we move over to the Reddit thread on r/MTG Rumors, I want to shout out one of the commenters, top commenter, The Real Knit. This person speaks Portuguese, has managed to translate to the best of their abilities with some input from other people in the Reddit community and editing the post with basically all of the cards that are shown. For those of you that do not know, the starter kit is a 40-card deck kit of cards with a face card that are, in this case, Cloud and Sephiroth from Final Fantasy. And then decks that are built around them in certain themes that can be played against each other, and they're relatively fairly matched. The Cloud one is a Boros equipment deck, and then the Sephiroth one is a Dimir mid-range. It's got some powerful, high mana cost creatures, a lot of removal spells. Sephiroth cares about creatures dying, so kind of mid-rangey control, but also kind of big creature aggro, which is interesting. Yeah. What do you make of these products being on shelves early? Is there any cards that particularly stood out to you as being notable in any way?
Them being on shelves early and the leaks coming from a person and not an LGS is mind-blowing to me. That means the LGS got the product, stocked it, sold it, without ever realizing that, hey, they were like, no one else in town has these, guys. We got to get in on the ground floor. And I'm sure it was just an oversight, but still, that's kind of crazy that someone was able to purchase them from their LGS and get all the way there and have them translated. Posting it and having them be translated. As far as cards that stood out to me, Cloud and Sephiroth stood out to me because those are the guys from Final Fantasy that I know about.
They also have been already previously previewed officially, so we knew those cards existed. We have high resolution scans. We know what those are.
Yeah.
To piggyback off what you're saying, with you're surprised that this even happened. How can you own a game store and not know that the products that you're stocking and when they release is what I would like to know.
Yeah. This could just be one of the cases of a mixed up Universes Beyond type deal, because I guess maybe to the untrained eye, with Magic being flooded with so many Universes Beyond, maybe it looked like something that was supposed to be stocked, because if you were to just glance at the art and know nothing about the Final Fantasy franchise or the Assassin's Creed franchise, you would kind of be inclined to be like, okay, well, this is from Assassin's Creed, stock. And again, that's if you're just not reading anything, you're literally just grabbing out of this box, quick glance, on the shelf.
But even then, if you're getting this product, you're familiar with the WPN Wizards website? It's got all the product information. It's a resource for stores to use. It's really good for content creators as well, because you can get high resolution images of the products and press material for.
Ooh.
Just want to put that out there.
I didn't know
in case you're
that.
Curious. Yeah, that's where I get when I'm making YouTube videos or I'm making shorts or podcasts, and I want to grab a product. I usually go to the WPN site because you can get the PNG of the product itself, and You don't have to deal with like, oh, I downloaded a PNG, but it's got a literal checkerboard background and isn't actually transparent for some unknown reason that exists. And don't even get me started on the WebP image file. That's a tangent for another podcast, quite frankly. I could go for an hour about why the WebP file sucks. Composure. But you go to the WPN site to like get pricing information, to get product information. That's when you learn about new products being released, and that's not even counting any of like the back end communication that these distributors are having with these game stores, with Wizards of the Coast. If you have a game store and you're selling these kinds of products, surely you must know that Final Fantasy stuff doesn't come out for 2 more months.
You got it.
You plan your inventory around when these kinds of products drop. So part of me feels like it's vaguely nefarious to go out and sell this. I mean, who knows which actual store sold the product? Mm-hmm. I'm sure the distributor is able to figure that out based on the amount of product being sent back to them.
Right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if a game store is like, hey, this doesn't... Street date's on this in 2 months. If you want this $20 starter kit right now, I'll sell it to you for $80.
Yeah.
And that might be enough for them.
That wouldn't surprise me either. Money does indeed talk.
Money does indeed talk. So, the cards themselves. Some very interesting things here. I want to start first with the mana base. As any good deck should start with a good, solid mana base. Each deck has 4 tapped dual lands that do nothing special except for the fact that they are a brand new land type in the city land. That is a subtype on the lands. Different from gates, different from deserts, different from any other type of random...
Spheres?
Spheres. Oh gosh, don't even get me started on the sphere lands. My goodness, so good. But it's kind of indicative of the fact that we're probably going to see the city land type matter for the set at large, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. But I think more interesting, the basic lands are all full art in the starter kits, and there is in fact 3 different types of full art lands for each of the land types that are shown. Neither of these starter decks have green in them, so no forests, but we have 3 different full art basics: plains, mountains, islands, and swamps. So a fuck ton of full art lands are going to be available in this set. I'd be shocked if they were exclusive to the starter kit, personally.
Oh, yeah.
No shot. It's kind of hard to tell specifically what games they're depicting. I'm not familiar with all of the Final Fantasy games. I know that one of the planes is definitely from Final Fantasy 15 because of the car. One of them's from Final Fantasy 7 because you get, Seventh Heaven, which is the bar in Final Fantasy 7. I'm pretty sure one of them's Final Fantasy 10. The swamps and islands, I have less than no idea. One of the islands is maybe Final Fantasy 10 from like the first seaside town you visit, but the rest of them, who fucking knows?
Yeah, I'm just going to have to trust you on that, because I, again, have no idea about Final Fantasy.
All cards on the table. I have not played every Final Fantasy game, obviously. Played the fuck out of 3 on the Nintendo DS as a child. That's the one that has the job system, which we'll get into here in a moment. Obviously played Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10, 15, 16, some of the tactics games. So I haven't hit like every numbered title, but I've hit a good smattering of them. I've played a little bit of 6. I've played a little bit of 9. Haven't touched 13 because, quite frankly, it offends me on a sensorial level.
What about 7? I heard that was like the pinnacle of the Final Fantasy.
7's definitely the most popular one. And it, for good reason, is popular. A lot of people say 6 is the best one. I played 16, and I thought 16 was fucking awesome. And that's the most recent one that's come out. But if you're a D&D guy, right?
Yeah. Yes.
If you played Final Fantasy 16, you'd be like, yeah, this is a fucking D&D ass campaign. Like, hell yeah. You would love Final Fantasy 16. Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Okay. I just want to say something before we get too far away from the subject. For that person to not only purchase that stuff, knowing Wizards' history with the Pinkertons, to go home and post it on Reddit is just mind-blowing to me. It's literally like paying extra to get the, like, if that's how it went down, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. But even if it wasn't, like, even if you paid normal price for it and the game store just sold it to you by accident, for you to then go home, and even if the game store didn't know, you for sure know that this does not come out for another 2 months.
Yep.
And post it. And just be
badass.
Like, they'll never find me. I am completely safe.
That person has the confidence of someone that has not only a burner Reddit account, but a very good VPN service as well. And they are just like, I'm posting this and fucking right off, dude. Have at it. Have at it, community. No, that's... I want to say impressive, but part of me also wants to be like, have a little bit of self-preservation.
Yeah.
You know?
Like
you don't need to have your door kicked in by the fucking Gestapo.
Yeah.
The WotC Gestapo,
Gestapo
busting in your fucking
cards.
door over these damn cards. Moving to the cards themselves, we're not going to be showing any of the images on screen for the video podcast. If you want to see those images, check out the YouTube video that I made, previously mentioned. But I want to point out some interesting things that I pointed out in the video, call out some characters and some references to characters, because not all of them are called out by name. Some of them are just depicted in the art of like instants and sorceries and stuff. With the Boros equipment deck, we learn of a new keyword called Choose a Job. In Final Fantasy, the earlier Final Fantasies like 3 and 4, is when you get introduced to the job system, where you have your set party members, and they don't necessarily have predetermined skill sets. If you look at later Final Fantasy games, let's use Final Fantasy VII, for example. Final Fantasy VII, you have your classic like warrior, which is going to be Cloud, the main character. You have like a brute style character with Barrett. You have your martial artist with Tifa. You have your healer, your white mage with Aerith, and so on and so on and so on. With Choose a Job, these are equipment that when they enter the battlefield, they create a 1/1 hero token, which is a new type of token as well. They create a 1/1 hero token, they attach themselves to that token, and then it gains the normal equipment bonuses, and one of the bonuses is it gains the creature type of knight, of cleric, of samurai for the katana, and that sort of thing. So adding creature types to tokens that do not natively have creature types. I don't know about you, Wyatt. It sounds vaguely reminiscent to me of like the party mechanic that we got from the D&D set, of having that kind of collection of creature subtypes that matter. What kind of vibe are you getting from Choose a Job? Oh, Wyatt, you're muted.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up on. The same thing. Similar vibes to the D&D party mechanic. I vaguely remember that in Final Fantasy. I believe it's Final Fantasy. I could be mistaken, but the
job system was created by Final Fantasy.
Yes, but they also have like classes of like types of characters, because that's where I believe the red mage comes from.
Yeah, the red mage, which is like your sword and sorcery kind of thing. Black mage, which is your classic, like, I'm casting spells to damage the fuck out of you. Your white mage is your healer, that kind of stuff.
Right. So, summoner. So I think that that's definitely something they could lean on pretty heavily in Final Fantasy. I also hope that it's more powerful than the party mechanic.
Absolutely.
Because that was kind of a letdown a little bit.
The thing is the starter deck gives us like an inkling that it matters by having the choose a job mechanic to begin with, but none of the cards that were translated really care about creature types like at all. They care. A lot of them have equipment based synergies. And these equipment are really good in an equipment deck because they come down with a creature and automatically attach themselves to said creature. So let's pull up an example here. The White Mage's Rod. We were talking about the White Mage.
Yep.
I said we weren't going to show or like call out individual cards, but I feel like it's the easiest way to explain this. If you don't want to be spoiled on specific cards, then skip forward. I don't know why you clicked on this video because it's totally titled about the Final Fantasy leaks.
Right.
So
it was going to come up.
Surely you must have known that this was going to happen. Okay. I know I said directly that it wasn't going to happen. I lied. Inadvertently, but nonetheless. The White Mage's Rod is 1 and a white for an artifact equipment. It has equip 3, but with the choose a job, it creates the hero token. It attaches the White Mage's Rod to it. Gives it +1/+1. It gains whenever this creature attacks, you gain a life, and is a cleric. So you're effectively getting a 2-mana 2/2 cleric that says when this creature attacks, gain 1 life. And then if you kill the creature, that equipment is then left over that can be equipped onto something else for 3 mana. So a very, I would not say aggressive rate, but a very like standard rate with kind of a lifelink little brother kind of effect. And that's what these choose a job equipments tend to feel like overall. I'm interested to see if the main set's going to have like actual support for these creature types in general.
Yeah, that's something that can kind of be like a give or take with it, because I do know that in the past sometimes the dual decks that have been released with other sets sometimes don't really tie into the overall theme. But because this is a Universes Beyond, I do have a feeling that we will see this pop up in the actual set.
I think choose a job is definitely going to, and there's such iconic weaponry in Final Fantasy that just like is super evocative. Obviously, Cloud's Buster Sword is one of the most evocative. In Final Fantasy VII, Barrett has his arm cut off before the start of the game, and he has a giant gun attached to his arm as his arm, and it's awesome. The gun blade from Final Fantasy VIII. There's a ton of like iconic.
The Blitzball from Blitzball.
The Blitzball is totally going to be. There's no way that the Blitzball isn't an equipment or a card referenced in some big way. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
Even in Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Arms, like I could see an entire like sub-cycle of cards around that. I mean, obviously there's only a limited number of cards they can make in this set, but yeah, that's kind of the vibe on the equipment deck. An interesting new mechanic learned through Choose a Job. We see lightning from Final Fantasy 13 depicted. We see Rosa. I don't know where that's from. Beatrix. I don't know where that's from. Alabaster Steiner. Some other interesting characters that I don't really know what they're from because I'm a bad fan.
Fake fan.
Right. But I do know that is Sid specifically from Final Fantasy 16, where he has lightning powers on one of the removal spells. So that's really cool. Moving to the Dimir deck, this one's centered more around the villains. In Final Fantasy, we get Seymour Flux, which is the final form of Seymour from Final Fantasy X. It says the translation says Ultimecia, but I believe it's Artemisia, and I think that's a Final Fantasy 14, 15. I don't. It's not 15. Final Fantasy 14 or like 12 or something. I don't fucking know. Not a ton of Zand Dark Mage. Don't know who that is either. But we get Deadly Embrace, which depicts the oh my god, the bird bitch from Final Fantasy 16, who's got Garuda in her, doing the Deadly Embrace attack, which is evocative. I do want to point out because we had, and I pointed this out in the YouTube video, because we have the Jumbo Cactar, when it attacks, it gets plus 9,999. We also have Extermination. 2 and a black, it's an instant. Target creature gets -0, minus 9,999 until end of turn. And that depicts Tidus from Final Fantasy X, given like the old shing, you know, the classic slice and dice, if you will.
Insert Vegeta gif. It's over 9,000.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Basically, what I want to implore you to understand with these starter decks is that they're fucking cool. The card designs are very interesting. We're getting some new mechanics to play around with. Creature types seem like they're going to matter a little bit, at least for some like more minor cards in the set, hopefully.
I don't think they'll lean as heavily on it as they did with the party mechanic, where like you had to have one of each, but I do feel that maybe having 2 specific types will give you like an unlockable extra benefit. So like warrior and cleric, and it's like if you have both of those, then you can choose both effects of this card if you control a blank and a blank.
Okay. So we have samurai, warrior, knight, and cleric are the 4 that choose a job equipments on the Boros list. I could totally see those being like 4 creature types that matter for like the classic 2-color archetypes that you get when you're like doing a pre-release or drafting or something to build around.
For sure.
What the set at large is remains to be seen. Which ones of these are specific to the starter decks? It might just be the 2 face cards. We might get a couple of cards in here that don't appear in the main set in booster packs. But yeah, if you want to check that out, I'll be sure to include the link to that Reddit thread in the description below. Wyatt, do you have any final thoughts about this very, very big leak for the Final Fantasy set?
I like how you said final thoughts because of the fantasy.
Do you know why it's called Final Fantasy?
No.
So the creator of Final Fantasy, when he was making the first one on the NES, he had tried to make games previously and none of them had been successful, and he was basically completely out of funding. And this was his last chance to make a game. And so this was his like final fantasy that he wanted to make into a game. And then it did really well. And he made Final Fantasy 2 and Final Fantasy 3 and so on and so on and so on. And then the numbering system got all fucked up because they didn't all get localized into English. And
right.
Now we
what happens.
Now every fantasy is final in some way. But it's a fun little game series.
The real fantasy was the finals we made along the way.
The real fantasy was the finals we made along the way. That is true. That is very, very true. Starter deck, cool. $20 for a good number of Magic cards that are very playable out of the box. Also very, very good. Starter decks are almost always a good idea. Yep. Highly recommend.
And the full art lands will probably retain some kind of value going forward.
Oh, absolutely.
So even if you're not a diehard Final Fantasy fan, there's still something in this for you. The cards are interesting and they will hold some kind of value. So
I feel like the starter decks, like, they can't go too crazy with the design on them, but they almost always hold value at the very least. Like, they're not going to go. Yeah. You're not going to buy a $20 starter deck and it'd be worth like $60, except for the Bloomburrow one, because Bria was at one point worth the price of the entire deck kit. But I think that eventually went down. But yeah, it's a great product. It's the one thing that I've pre-ordered so far for Final Fantasy, though I will be buying in quite a bit more. All right, moving on to, well, we already talked about the Lego, so I'm going to delete that tab. The one little wrap-up item we have, because basically the only thing people have been talking about in Magic has been the release of Tarkir, and the Marvel Secret Lair Deadpool April Fool's Day announcement. Prior to April Fool's Day, if you sign up for the newsletter from Secret Lair, which I do, you would have gotten a very mysterious email where all of every bit of text imaginable with other than some select words were blocked out, and you had no idea what this next Secret Lair drop was going to be. And then the following day on April Fool's, they reveal April Fool's Day, a Deadpool-themed Magic the Gathering Secret Lair with Marvel's Deadpool. And for those of you that were lucky enough to get your hands on the 5-card Secret Lair, the cards are actually fire. They're actually really good. This is a great quality Secret Lair. Before we get to the Deadpool card himself, which is a new design specific for this Secret Lair, the 4 cards that you're getting along with Deadpool are a Vandal Blast, where he's holding a flamethrower and shooting it between his legs like he's ripping a massive fart. The flames also are burning a Black Lotus card in the art, because of course it is, with a wizard-like character behind him screaming in abject horror and fear. The other one is Blasphemous Act. It shows Deadpool sitting on the moon eating a chimichanga. He's got the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's snapping the planet Earth into destruction, which is hilarious.
Yep.
Saw in Half, which is sawing both Deadpool into 2 pieces, as well as the card frame itself and the text box being cut into a little bit. The last non-Deadpool card is a Deadly Rollick, featuring Deadpool riding on a unicorn that is breaking the frame, and it is stomping on Cable. All of the flavor text is hilarious as well.
Yes.
Vandal Blast, look at me, I'm Chandra Nalar. My personal favorite is Saw in Half, because it's not flavor text, it's formatted as reminder text. For those of you that don't know, Saw in Half, destroy target creature. If the creature dies this way, its controller creates 2 tokens that are copies of that creature, except their power is half that creature's power, and their toughness is half that creature's toughness, rounded up each time. And then there's reminder text saying, don't try this at home, kids. Magic is super dangerous. Because he's getting sawn in half, and he's got a freaking magician's outfit on.
Yeah. Card choice, excellent.
Excellent choice.
Also, I feel like this is one of the few times when Magic struck while the iron was still somewhat hot.
Absolutely.
With a few last year sometime, late last year or early this year, they finally released Deadpool vs. Wolverine onto Disney Plus so you could start streaming it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they released the Marvel Secret Lair, I'm sure a lot of people were asking about Deadpool because he is, in fact, a very popular Marvel character since the movies. And so I think this is just an all-around, just a grand slam of a Secret Lair. The cards are good. Notable cards that people will play, almost every single one of them, which is a rarity for Secret Lairs.
Very playable in any Rakdos Commander shell, for sure. Which,
speaking of Rakdos,
the lead headliner card is Deadpool himself. Deadpool, trading card, is a 5/3 legendary creature mutant mercenary hero. Costs 2 black and red, and has a very Unfinity style, an unset style ability that is in black border and is legal in Commander. As Deadpool enters, you may exchange his text box with another creature's. The rest of his text box reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 3 life. You can pay 3, sacrifice this creature. Each other player draws a card. So basically, you're giving one other opponent, you're taking the best creature text box on the board when you cast him, and then you're giving that player the worst text box that they could have on the board, either causing them to just passively lose life on their upkeep, or to get rid of the creature, sacrifice it, destroy it. You have to let all your opponents draw a card and pay 3 mana to get your commander back.
It's whatever. Like taking a hit out on their best creature.
It is.
And for the merc with the mouth, it is very, very fitting.
For one, Deadpool trading card. Hilarious.
Oh yeah.
The text, the flavor text, draw me like one of your French cards. Amazing. And Deadpool is slicing his text box open. The actual art itself is cutting through the card, looking like paper tearing to cut out to the text box as he is giving his text box to another creature card and taking theirs back with him. Very super mega thematic.
Yeah.
I personally, I gotta shout out the flavor text and the reminder text on these things because it's fucking hilarious. The blasphemous act. He's on the moon and he's infinity gauntlet snapping the earth to smithereens. It says, "You might be wondering why I've killed the Marvel universe yet again, but the real question is, how am I breathing on the moon?" That's it. No explanation. Just that's all.
Yeah.
I love that he's burning a Black Lotus.
And wasn't one of the cards that came in the secret lair something called Blacker Lotus? One of the
one of
you
the
know
secret
how when you
cards.
order a secret lair, you'll get another card that comes with it.
Ooh, yeah, you do usually get the secret lair card, but I don't know if we know. I don't think we know what they are yet. Deadpool MTG secret card. Yeah, no.
Ah.
Yeah, no. Sadly not. Oh, bonus card. Hold on. The first one was revealed. Yeah, Blacker Lotus. Let's see. Harmless Offering is also one of them. It depicts...
I believe that's Gwenpool, right?
Yeah, Gwenpool holding Jeff the Shark.
For all the Marvel rival players out there, they know who Jeff the Shark is.
That they do. And Jeff the Shark has taken some bites out of the card frame of Harmless Offering as well. The Blacker Lotus, though, is a reference to an unset from way back in the day where they made Blacker Lotus, and it was just you tear the card into pieces, and then you add 4 mana of any one color, and you remove the pieces from the... Basically telling you get 4 mana of any one color for free, but you have to rip the card up to do it. Yeah. And then the Deadpool one, he turned a Black Lotus. So the under of the card art is Black Lotus, and then it's got like all this stuff drawn on it, and the name was scratched out and written as Blacker Lotus, and then it gives like dotted lines for where to cut, and he drew over the Black Lotus with like black Sharpie, and he put his all just hilarious shit.
Yeah.
Fucking love it. I'm kind of surprised that people were able to get these secret layers so quickly to even be able to show off these bonus cards.
10 out of 10 secret lair.
10 out of 10 secret lair. Actually, sorry. 7 out of 10 secret lair. The foil version is $10 more than normal, and the non-foil version's $10 more than normal. So, the best I can give you is like a 6-7.
That does make it go down.
6-7. All the Gen Z people will cringe that I said 6-7 for some reason. Anyway, nice little brief one. Again, I am sorry we are under a little bit of a time crunch today because I started coaching swim practices again. We just started up this week. The break was not nearly long enough, but such is life. We're adults. We have jobs.
Just keep swimming.
We will just keep swimming. What I will do is, as I'm walking out to the car, I'm going to grab the Amazon package that I got a notification for about 10 minutes ago. Arrived for volume 3 of the Magic the Gathering manga. Destroy all humans that cannot be regenerated.
Yes, I've heard very good things about it.
It's a very cute little fun story so far. I have the first 2 volumes, and if you get the first printing of them, which is basically all the ones that are available right now, you do get promo cards in them, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Highly recommend. And then the price of a normal manga, at least on Amazon they are. So recommend that for those of you that are interested. Recommend the Patreon, patreon.com/thedungeonbros. where you can join for free. If you want access to the feed, you can submit questions for the show, which reminds me, we do have a question. We got to do this one quickly, though. We do have a question from Brandon Vole. I would have felt so bad if I forgot to do this. He wants to know thoughts on the guild-specific pre-release kits and what's our favorite dragon, in reference to Tarkir Dragonstorm. I think the idea of the seeded packs is really cool, especially for a set that's built around 3-color wedges, just because they're a bit harder to build around in a pre-release environment. I will say doing the pre-release, open the pre-release kit, the seeded pack is in the clear plastic, like your normal pre-release card is. They seed the packs. In those packs are all of the ones that match the color of the pre-release kit that you bought. And then it also includes your pre-release promo card. Promo card not guaranteed to be in the 3 colors of the seeded pack.
Yeah, just like always.
Why they couldn't seed it just like one more card so that it fit in the color identity so I would be able to play it in the pre-release kit. I don't know why they didn't do that, but to each their own. I think it's really cool, and obviously I really like Shiko, the Paragon of the Way, which I think is really fun.
Big Jeskai fan over there.
I'm a Jeskai lad. I am a Jeskai lad.
A Jeskai enjoyer.
Indeed. Also Ugin, but that also is kind of cheating because he's a planeswalker, not a dragon.
Yeah.
What do you think of the pre-release kits, and what's your favorite dragon from Tarkir?
Love the pre-release kits. Really want to get my hands on them as soon as I can. I plan on doing so. Favorite wedge for me, I'm gonna have to go Mardu.
Mm-hmm.
Love me some Mardu. You know, just being able to attack and getting benefits from attacking. Just all around, love that. And my favorite dragon from this set's probably going to be Taval. The one that gives all your cards delve.
Mm-hmm. That one's a weird one to build around because you want to fill your graveyard, but then you also have to exile your graveyard to get value from your graveyard.
The thing is, like, you think it would be so much harder than it is, but as you're, like, because I built a budget version that I'm still, like, putting the final touches on.
As you do.
As I do. And even just being able to discount your spells by 2 can rapidly change how the deck plays. It is so crazy, and you fill up the graveyard so much faster than I thought I would. Like, I put a bunch of mill in it in the first iteration, thinking I would need it to fill up the graveyard to get to the spells. Not the case. Like, just drawing and discarding and just churning through spells will put enough in the graveyard where you can get the discount you want.
Your normal Thrill of Possibility, your Faithless Looting, your normal shtick is gonna fill you up more than enough.
Yeah,
more than enough.
Not the red cards, of course, because you can't.
But
use red.
It's not. The black one. The black one. That's the fucking
Surveil one. The Dire Sights.
Yeah. You know the vibe.
I know the vibe.
You know what I'm saying. That is all we have for this, the Lord's 90th episode of the Duels of Mana-Dorks podcast. As I was saying about the Patreon, you can join for free to get access to the feed, ask questions to be read on the show like Brandon did. I almost forgot to read that. I apologize.
And Sam will come back and read all the questions too. He'll answer every single one.
That's going to be his first episode back, is just answering all of the questions rapid fire back to back to back without any knowledge, because he's been gone for 6 months.
As he's readjusting to society, we're just going to barrage him with questions.
Just start fucking like the boxers that are working like the little
speed
ball
bag.
The speed bag, just speed bagging these questions at him. I think that'll be great. But you can join the Patreon at the $5 tier to get early ad-free access to the podcast. Check out the YouTube video I made of showing off some of the specific legendary creatures from the Final Fantasy leak as well. Check out Wyatt at Typical Gemini MTG. He's got budget deck tech videos. He's been making some shorts recently too, getting back to kind of the TikTok vibe, but on YouTube a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm digging it. That's where we met on TikTok. You doing your little TikTok bits, and now we got it on YouTube now. Better platform for it, I would argue. You never know when TikTok's going to be banned out from under us at this point.
I had to, what did Wu-Tang say? Diversify your bonds. I got to get out there. So
we don't need to bring the Wu-Tang into this. Wu-Tai, though, a reference to Final Fantasy VII, specifically Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, where it matters quite a bit more. Wu-Tai is a whole other... Not the Wu-Tang clan, thank God.
Yeah, that's the Wu-Tai clan.
That is the Wu-Tai people. It's a whole society. But I digress. Yeah. I've got to go about 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, we got to get swimming.
We got to get to swimming. I'm not swimming. The kids are swimming. I'm making sure that they're swimming fast, that they're doing the right thing. Drowning. That's the lifeguard job. I don't.
Oh, okay. So hey, that's not even on you.
Yeah. Am I fully trained to do that? Yes. But it's a lifeguard job. Anyway, thank you again, Wyatt, for joining us. Thank you all at home for watching. Nope. We love you very much.
Yes,
and
we
as
do.
Always.
Bienvenue.
You're doing a different one every fucking time, aren't you? You son of a bitch. My man. My man.